All righty. Hello, everyone. We are live. And I am Judy Ambrose James. Welcome to Generational Turnaround Podcast. And you know, we seek the truth and then we bring you the proof. And I do that through my guests, because they are what they are professionals in their fields. So we this is tried and true information. We didn't we're not telling you about what we heard. We're telling you about what we know, and you know, y'all know what I mean. Okay, let me tell you what I want to do. First thing I want to do is I want to introduce you to Dr. Jonas Gadson, DTM, and Anthony Washington. Dr. Gadson is a keynote speaker for GT Summit. And Anthony Washington, Coach Duub, as yeah, I know I get messed up, but Coach Duub, as we refer to him in his profession. So I'm going to read y'all a little bit about them before I let them introduce themselves. Okay, I have Dr. Jonas Gadson, DTM. His topic is Say Yes to Your Success. Nah, okay? I'm going to leave it like that. Known as Mr. Enthusiastic, he's a powerhouse in the realm of public speaking and effective communication. Over 30 years of corporate experience in the industry giant. Now, Dr. Gadson told me don't read too much because we gonna talk. We here to talk. We not here. Y'all gonna read their bio when you go to the summit and go to the breakout room. Anthony, I have a look. Anthony is widely known as Coach Duub, an inspiring figure in the world of athletics and personal growth, currently serving as the assistant track and field coach at Newberry College. So, okay, that's a little bit on Anthony. Now, let's get down to it. Y'all know this is about generational turnaround, and I have Anthony as a guest speaker. And so, what I have one question, and I'm gonna let them elaborate on what does generational turnaround mean to them when they hear the words generational turnaround, and have you turned around someone that in their youth, or it don't even have to be youth. You know what? Because we have a lot of older people that could use a generational turnaround. So, Dr. Gadson, can I start with you first? How and why did you say yes to the GT Summit?
Yes, it's so great to be here and to be part of this summit of Turnaround Generation. Again, I've been in corporate America for 30 years with Eastman Kodak and Xerox, training people from around the world. And this generation turnaround is so critical in times like these. And since we are focusing a lot on the youth, I've been involved with the youth for the last 30 years in college and high school, teaching them how to give a powerful presentation, and also to say yes to your success, which I'll be addressing in the summit. And I attribute a lot. I always say that young people make up 45% or 25% of our population, but they're 100% of our future. And I have a lot of students that I've taught up in Rochester, New York. We have what they call a C-STEP program and also a STEP program where you're teaching African American and Hispanic how to go into engineer, how to be able to communicate more and say yes to your success. So the timing is very, very, all the things I've learned in corporate America and being an author of 8 best-selling books and training people, and even just recently being on a program that I spoke to 14 different nations on my computer from around the world. So I bring a wealth of knowledge and experience, and I'm so privileged to be a part of this generation turnaround. And being a spiritual guy, my favorite book says, a good man leave an inheritance for 3 generations. So people plant trees for us that they no longer here to be under. And that's why this generational turnaround is so important. We are planting trees, we are planting seeds that we know we won't be here, but we are creating for our children that's coming after us. So I'm very fired up, ready to go, and ready to glow. So I'm great to be here, and we're just going to have a great time, and we are going to get the word out. It's virtual. So people don't have to worry about traveling. They don't have to worry about hotel or food. They can come in the privacy of their home, block it out, get on their laptop or get on their smartphone and get a message and that encourage them to say yes to your success. So I'm fired up.
All right, Dr. Gadson. I am too. I'm fired up to hear what Anthony, Coach Duub, has to tell us.
When I think of generation turnaround, I think about the generations of family members that were before me. And I think about the struggles that my parents and my grandparents had to go through just to get me into this position. And the biggest thing that I look at in generation turnaround is each family member started off with something, and then the next generation got a little bit better. You know, my grandparents were working in as janitors as well as housekeeping. You know, my mom and my father, they went to school. They graduated from high school. You know, my mother went to college. And when I look at, she's 72 now, and I look at what she's been through over the years and what we have gone through as a people to what positions that we are right now. Now we're public speakers, we're coaches, we're teaching, we're ministers. We have the position to take what we've done and now get a chance to turn the generations around that don't know any better, you know? And the biggest thing that I look at right now and all the things that I've been able to accomplish over the years is that, hey, guess what? Now it's time to pay it forward. Now it's time to pour into younger youth at a younger age. The ones that are not in the best positions, put them in the best positions so they know they can be successful. That's my position on that.
Thank you, Anthony. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. We one thing like Dr. Gadson said, they are 100% of our future. I don't know what the percentage of as what they are made up, but they are 100% because I'm 68 and I'm hoping that to live like longer, but they're going to be running the country from politics to, like you say, coaching, speaking. We have to make sure that what they speak about will also to help us in the youngest. I got one friend who talks about all she's doing to do is teach the golden rule again. Stop what everybody will learn the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the first thing you learn. Do either one of you, can you talk on that?
I can. My grandmother was.
Yeah, what I would
Um,
add to,
can y'all hear me, or did he go first?
Yes, I hear you.
no, that's
I
Okay.
right.
heard.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. What I could tell you, my grandmother was a pillar in my life. And growing up, my mother was as well. And the Bible talks about Paul talking about your grandmother and your mother. And then I know that thing. It's the same thing as inside of you. So when I look at it in this perspective, is that I was taught values, even though I lived in the ghetto, but I was taught values. And those values carried me to the position that I am right now. It's that when my grandmother would say, when you leave out this house, you make sure you know who you are and whose you are. Okay. And that, even though I didn't know much about what it meant at that particular time, I stayed out of trouble. I didn't give them that kind of grief that put me in jail and things of that nature. But when the opportunity presented itself, it was the values that my grandmother poured into me and my mom poured into me that why I'm in this position today. So that's my position on that.
Coach Dub, can
Yeah,
you
yes, and
raise
I,
your
I
head up a
definitely
little
agree with
bit?
what
You're real
you
low.
said because my
I
mother
Can
can't
always
y'all
used to
hear
tell
hear.
me,
me?
said, "Boy,
Yeah.
manners will take you that yeah, that manners will take me where money won't." So that respect, and my father died when I was really young. So my mother raised me and the community. I'm also, it takes a village to raise a child, and that's the environment that I grew up in. And and so now we got an opportunity to pass the baton to other people. So a lot of people need to realize that we are over 8 billion people. There'll never be another one just like you and just like me. We were created an original, so don't dare die a cheap copy. So we are here to tell you that what we went through and what we just didn't go through it, we grew through it. And we are passing, whether you're the part of the old generation or the new generation, there's some things that we can share. And we right now we're getting ready to go into September, but the 8th month we are. So what we're talking to you with the new generation turnaround is to give you a new beginning, to let you know this is your time and this is your turn. This is the decade of the doers. Whatever the challenge is, there's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without will do you no harm. So if you work within, you'll never do without. It's not what you necessarily put on you, but it's what's in you. And too many of us are working to put the best stuff on us, but we didn't work in us. It's not outside in, but it's inside out. So it's generation turnaround, a new beginning. It starts with you and it starts with me.
And talking about the village and the help that we got from our neighbors, our family, mostly family, the grandmother, the grandfather, you know, but and it didn't have to be a relative. It could just be the person next door. Why why is it that that's not happening right now? That's my question.
Because one thing I could tell you when I was young, um, the neighbors spanked me. You know what I mean? Across the people that was in the neighborhood, they told your parents what you were up to. You know, and when I got home, I got another spanking because this is what we went through. You're not going to just act up because everybody in the neighborhood parent you. It wasn't just your mom and dad and your grandmother. It was the neighborhood. And the problem about today is nobody wants their child to be told nothing. Not even the teacher, not the principal, not your neighbor across the street. Hey, heck about it. Not even your aunt and your uncles can't even spank you anymore. That's the generation we're in. Because they don't want you to tell their child anything. So there's no community in growth. So when you think about generation turnaround, it's like this. We got to come back together as a community and raise our children as a community, not just have parenting. And this is what we're missing, is that we don't have a community base of parenting and mentoring.
That's right. Yes. Mm, mm, mm.
You said that.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
said that. Go ahead, Dr. Gadson.
First thing I want to say, I think that Mr. Washington and I, because that's exactly when I got in trouble and I wasn't at home, they took care of me. They whooped me good. And I couldn't get away with it because I looked like my mother. He said, "Ain't you Mary Boy?" And I used to say, "Oh yes, I'm Mary Boy." But since you already whipped me, could you please not tell mother? Now we didn't have telephone and TV and all that. I don't know how my mother got it, but by the time I got home, she was aware of it, and I got another whipping. Now let me say this caveat piece. Although what Mr. Washington said, and what I said is right, we also want to acknowledge now that we're in a different time, in a different generation. And what I mean by that, we have to teach our children how what value are. And now you just don't do what any grown-up said, because every grown-up don't have the same value that we had back then. So we have to learn to teach our children. And what I want to say too, don't advocate all the responsibility to the principal and to the school and to the superintendent. The number one parents is the mama and daddy. The Creator gave us the responsibility, and that's what we need to bring that back home, because some of our schools are not teaching our children. They're indoctrinating them things that are against what we stand for and what our Creator stands for. So that's what it's a new generation, and some of the young people are saying, "Oh, I'm from the new school." Well, let me tell you something. It wouldn't be no school if it wasn't for the old school. Come on. So this turnaround is for young and for all. The scripture said, "I call the young because they're strong, but I call the old because of their wisdom and their knowledge." The scripture said, "My people are destroyed, not because of lack of information, not because of Satan, not because of sin. My people are destroyed because of the lack of knowledge." We're being bombarded with information, but we are starving for knowledge. Oh, I think I said something. I think that's a bonus from Jonas.
All right. You did. You said something. When we GT Summit, they are going to be listening for us to say something that they can resonate with. So, Coach Duub, what are you, just give us a little bit of, without giving all we really need to let everyone watching know why they need to come to your breakout room.
The biggest thing that I was going to say about that is, without giving out the meat, let's just give out the potatoes real quick. And the biggest thing, one thing we don't look at, is what goals do we have in life? When I was a child, and I never forget it, I was infatuated with hats. And it was hats that really put me in position of what direction I was going to go at. And I looked at firemen's hats. I looked at police officers' hats. I looked at the hats that my uncles wore when they was in the service. And it was a representation of who they were. And that's what set the goals in the direction that I wanted to go. I had goals in mind. And then when you look at when you had football players when they get ready for the draft and they get called to be put on that new team, what's the first thing they put on? They put on that hat. They put that hat on their head. See, what it does is it gives you a representation of purpose. And what we want to do is get people involved and get them motivated to put a hat on. Put a hat of purpose on. So you have a drive and a motivation to do something in life. Opposed to just say, well, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to go. I have no goals in life. Or I have no purpose. Nobody told me I could do this. And what we're going to do on this GT Summit is give them the purpose of putting a new hat on their head so they can have purpose.
And there's no particular hat that you can't wear because you come from this place or you come from this place or you didn't get this degree or you didn't get, So, yeah, okay, Dr. Gadson.
Yes, we are bringing a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience and expertise. And even when you're listening to this, one thing I guarantee you, we're going to give you some information, give you some knowledge that you can utilize right away. We're not going to hold back. I'm bringing 52 years of experience and knowledge in entrepreneur and in corporate America and in academia. We're going to bring it all and we're going to share it. And by the way, we're not just giving you a tease. We're so full. We're coming so full. You can't exalt us because we got so much knowledge and experience, and we're going to share that with you to give you that encouragement to let you know that we are available if you're serious about having a better life. And some of you like me. My father died when I was about 3 years old. So my mother raised me. So in a lot of times we got some male that are angry because mama wasn't there or daddy wasn't there. I'm here to tell you, yes, that's really hurt, but you can still rise above that. Now I'm speaking to people from around the world and from a plantation that I was born on a plantation in St. Helena Island in South Carolina. And now I'm traveling from all over the world, and we can show you how you can do that if you're teaching. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do us no wrong, do us no harm. And so we want to share that with you to help you to be and to do and to have whatever. So we come in ready. We come ready because somebody helped me. Somebody helped Mr. Washington. Somebody helped Coach Judy. And we are here to give back, to help somebody. We're not coming to point a finger. We're coming to lend a hand. And the only time you should look down on another human being is when you're looking down to help them up. Because I've been there, done that. I'm not, because somebody said, you sound like you're talking to me. How can you relate? I can relate because I used to be you. I used to be you. We're not coming to fluffy thing all that. We're going to tell you what we did and how we did it, by the grace of God. So I'm so fired up. That little moment that I'm going to have as a keynote going to go just like that. But you can't exalt us because we are deeper than that. We're not coming. We're coming with the reservoir, but we're going to connect you to the river, and the words and the knowledge is going to go from house to house, to hand, and to heart to heart. That's what I'm going. That's what we're going to bring. That's why they call me Mr. Enthusiastic.
I know, because I'm about to jump out this chair right here. Yeah. You know what? It's so important to realize that there's so many possibilities out there. Too many people, young people or old people, are counting themselves out. Nobody else is doing it. They're counting themselves out. Well, God so loved the world, okay? He gave his only begotten son for us. So I want to know. I'm just going to bring a little bit of this. We have a lot of young people in prison every day, more and more and more. And they're leaving children behind, children who are growing up angry. For that reason, have either of you worked in the with prisoners?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us how the word I'm trying to successful you were with helping them turn it around?
Two folds. The first one was me working as a correctional officer and understanding that these guys had to live here. And what people don't understand is the constant mind game over and over and over that you got to stay here until your time is up. And you go into these different types of mental capacities thinking that, okay, is it going to be one, woe is me? Or is it an exiting plan? That, okay, this is what I'm going to become when I get out, you know? And when you look at the whole situations in a nutshell, is me being a correctional officer, I had to take the fairness of it all. I have to do my job, but I also got to increase hope. And between me and you, I witnessed while I was in the prison. I shared the gospel while I was in prison. And there was men that actually accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior while they were in the prison, that I witnessed to. And then on the other side was working with Nike football. I went into the GJJ and I brought a camp into the prison for the juvenile justice system for the kids. And just to give them hope. And to make a long story short, there was one kid that got out of prison and then came to one of my Nike camps and say, Coach, do you remember me?
Yes. Did you remember him?
Yeah, I remember him. And after he told me about him being a wide receiver and that he just said to me, he just couldn't wait to get out so he could show what he could do. And he actually made it, and he actually played for his high school football team. So that was a generational turnaround. Even 5 minutes of conversation can be a generation turnaround for some people because you just give them hope. And what I did was while I was in the GJJ, I left a football for the best player. I left a shirt for the best player. Okay. And then also gave it to the point where we even had a fastest man competition in the juvenile prison, you know, and it's just giving them an opportunity to say, okay, everything ain't all failed. There's always an opportunity for hope. All we need is a moment of success. When you take success, even in the situation of being in prison, okay, you know what? Yeah, I did what I did, but guess what? I paid my dues and I got out and I put myself in a position when I go back, I'm not coming back here again. And that's what I put out. That's what I preach to when I'm talking to the kids or the ones that's in prison.
Yes, indeed. And that's, I'm not going to say that's what's missing, but it's the lack of hope and the lack of not knowing purpose. And if someone can convince you that there's both hope and purpose, then what happens after that, Dr. Gadson? If you can convince someone of hope and purpose? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
hope is very, very hope is very, very important. And sometimes people have to also understand that sometimes you're going to be knocked down, and sometimes you feel like giving up. But you have to understand. Maybe you even had a bad chapter in your life, but you need to understand that the chapter that you have is not the book. It's not the book. You may have been knocked down, but that was on the round one. Ding, ding, get up from down there and let's fight some more. fight for a better life. And we have the ingredients, we have the principle and the purpose that we can help you do that. And that's why we're not coming like we already arrived. We are coming to you what we did to get from where we were and where we are right now. And I tell sometimes people, even have a doctorate degree, I tell them, but there is a shortcut to education. Find out who knows the answer and ask them, and build around you positive, powerful, and purposeful people. It's like Mr. Washington just said a moment ago. Look at the wealth of wisdom that he's bringing. And even though that I'm well studied and well learned, I'm listening to him because the scripture also say iron sharpen iron. And so we are on the same team because teamwork make the dream work. You see, we're not jealous one another. We're not competitors. We are comrades. And we unite today and this weekend or in September to help you to be part of the generation turnaround. If you've been heading in the wrong direction, turn around. Don't go where the majority is going, because if you don't have to cut your own path. We already done trail the path. All you got to do is follow the path of resistance, because you can't grow if you go along with the current. And one of the things we want you to know, stop drifting and start shifting. Shift. You've been drifting long enough. It's shifting time.
Drifting long enough. It's time to shift them gears. Oh my goodness, that is so true. And I'm just gonna say, most of y'all know that I've had a massive stroke, 2 craniotomies. Okay, and yet look where I am here interviewing these magnificent men. Okay, when they were told me that I wouldn't walk again, when they told me that my speech was always going to be a work in progress. Well, I think y'all understand me pretty well. So that's why I believe, first of all, I believe. I want to know if you take time to spend some time with your elders. And I keep going back there because that's where I am. And a lot of young people don't really have time for that anymore. But they have time for these young people who not leading them down the right path.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say, Coach Duub, if you saw 2 of your athletes making that turn around in the wrong direction? How would you talk to them? Because I'm gonna just say we might have a few in the GT Summit.
The one thing that I always do when I see kids going in the wrong direction, and it goes down to the point of falling. A lot of people are afraid to fall. And when they fall, they get back up and they go the wrong direction because they're not how can I say this in the right way? They don't feel the courage to go forward opposed to going backwards. And I was taught as a young child, okay, you're going to fall at some point in your time in your life. But now that you've fallen, there's no fear of falling anymore. So I tell a lot of people, when one of my athletes, they don't get the right race and they fail and they lose. Okay, now you lost. Why did you lose? What happened? Did you learn from what happened from falling? Or did you just fall and you just came up and gave up and you turn around and go the wrong direction? See, I always look at falling does not always mean that you fail by doing it wrong. Sometimes people fall because they didn't know where to go. And by falling, you learn something from it. And now it's get to the point where now that you've fallen, wipe your knees off, wipe your nose, and get back up and get back into the race.
That's look, that is so true. That is so true. But I want to ask you, Dr. Gatson. Okay, they're falling. Some of them stayed down. Some of them jumped up, and then some of them just stand. What? How do you motivate a person who's just standing, not going right, not going left, not getting up?
Well, one of the things I emphasize to people, young people included, don't focus on what you have lost. Focus on what you have left, because what you have left is enough to get the job done. And everything that is sometimes people say, well, I'm going through this and I'm going through. Just don't go through it, grow. Grow through it. So when you get on the other side, you'll be better for it. And so, but as David said, when you go through the valley, he said he grows through it. Don't make your valley your grand finale. Get the lesson, because if you don't grow through it, you're going to have to repeat the course. And so get up from down there, get up from knock down, but not knock off. And some people say, well, fear. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Replace the fear with faith. I often said doubt and fear knocked on your door. Faith opened it up, but there was nobody there. And so you need to get a coach, you need to get a mentor that's been there, done that, and and see, we might have got to a certain level on a mountaintop, but we're not looking to stay on the mountaintop, because our job is back in the valley. And we go back in the valley to show you the process and how you can grow to get to the mountain with. Someone said it's lonely at the top. That, I tell you, whoever made that statement is not a leader, because you will not go to the top by yourself. And if you go to the top by yourself, rest assured you're going to jump off, because you ain't got nobody there to secure you, and you think it's all about you. I tell people all the time, boo, boo, it's not about you. It's bigger than you.
Yeah.
You mute. You mute. You mute.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking. Okay. I know that some of my viewers out there are saying these men got it going on. You know, they can say what they're saying because they got the experience and things are great for them. How about you all tell one story when it wasn't great for you and you had to climb?
You want me to go first?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Um, the funny thing is that was the most recent situation. Um, I've coached for years. I've tried out for the Olympic Games, didn't make it. Tried out for the Olympic trials, didn't make it. Got into coaching, had some good success. But my success was out of fear. I had to be successful by winning, placing in the top three or whatever that may be to keep my job as a coach, to help an NFL athlete get to the draft, to help an athlete who's in the NFL keep his mindset. And it was always in the moment of fear that I coached. In 2022, I came out with the no matter what syndrome. And the no matter what was I coach anyway. Whether I do right or if I do wrong, whether it's going good or going bad, I'm still a coach. So when I took the fear out of it and just coach, I came with them no matter what mindset, because now there's nothing wrong with getting it wrong, because in the next time you can get it right. So in this particular situation was, by not having the fear of losing, I had what I call a very one track mind, and that was to put everything into the athlete. And guess what? Go out with my feet standing up, not laying down. So now that I coach, I just stand. I don't worry about falling anymore, because guess what? I have the ability to get back up and get back into the race. You know, and so when I look at my athletes, when I look at them, I don't care about you crying. I don't care about you. You're going to have to open up your mind and wake up and get back into this. So when I went to the World Indoor Track and Field Championships in 2016, it was that moment that I did it without thinking about it, because I knew I could do it. And the athlete said, "Coach, you're the only one that can keep me calm." And he got off from the first round at the World Championships to the second round, almost made the finals, because we remained calm. And that's what I tell everybody. So what? Fall. I don't care about you falling. Fall. And guess what? Do it without fear. So when I coach, I don't coach with fear. I enjoy what I do. I don't care.
So it's not that you have got to win or you got to be the number one coach in the nation or has coached the most athletes. That's not what it's all about for you.
No, because I have won national titles. I've had three Olympic athletes. You know, I've worked with 42 NFL athletes, um, trying out for the draft, and seven made it to the NFL active roster. I've had all that success, but I have to take the success, the opportunity that presents itself. And I gave them my best, whether they made the NFL or didn't make the NFL, if they made the finals at the Olympic Games or did not, if they made it to the national championships finals or not. I gave them my best. And that's what makes me successful.
Ooh, you know what? That's what's missing. Because everybody thinks they got to be at the top or not at all. And so they stop halfway and they can't get back to the top. So, Dr. Gadson, what about you? What happened in your life that was not so easy to get where you are right now?
Well, what I would share something recently that I just recently had a really huge issue with my lower back, and it's in excruciating pain now as I speak. But what I was committed to is being a part of this generation turnaround. And I also tell people that even though I'm in a lot of pain, the pain will not cancel my purpose. And so regardless of what's transpired, normally when I'm on, I have a suit on and all of those stuff. I'm a suit guy. But if you notice, I'm in a different position because I wasn't going to let that stop you. So sometimes you have to do it with pain. You have to move forward because my purpose pulled me. And so that's why, and I put my word guy yet because I'm not finished. And so I'm going to continue to fight. See, and for the next round. And there's other things I could share, but I want to make something relevant. If you're going to be great and you're going to achieve things, you're not going to achieve it because of the conveniences. You're going to have to go through. You're either in a storm, coming out of a storm, or heading for a storm. But we are preparing you for the storm that ahead. And then I also believe, even though the pain may be racking my body, I'm not going to whine. I'm going to shine because I want to give people hope that you still can make it. because I think Coach Judy mentioned her age, but I think we were talking about that a while back, and I told her, I said, yeah, I know you're 68, but I'm 70, so yeah, I know you've been taught how to respect your elders up in here. Yeah. And but you grow. You learn the lesson from grow. And sometimes you learn more by failing than you succeed. And sometimes you got to learn to fail your way to success. Yeah, and get back up again and again. And I'm doing it because we want to share hope. No, now, and let me tell you something as I close out. A lot of times people come to you and they want to say, "Oh, y'all did this and y'all did that." I say, hold it. Before you give me perceived glory, you got a minute so I can tell you the story, how we got there, how I got there, and the hurts and the habits and the fall down and the assassination of your character. It's not over. It's possible. It's possible. If it's possible for a country boy that grew up on a plantation and now speaking to people from around the world, and you weren't born on a plantation. You weren't labeled as a person not to succeed. You got everything in your power to make a better choice. And that's what we are here, is to give you an alternative, a proven path that's already been carved out for you, just like generation people before me carved it out for us.
And that is it. The generation before and before and before. And if everybody had intention that I'm doing this, so the next generation, which is my granddaughter or my grandson, cannot have to work so hard. But in between time, that statement right there, it made it the turnaround that they were not allowed to fall. They did not want, parents didn't want the kids to fall. They didn't want the kids to know what it's like to not have. And so now here we are. I was told I'm going to get mine by whatever means necessary. What does that mean, Coach Dubb? What does that statement mean?
Getting yours by any means necessary. The one thing that I remember installed in me as a child when we were striving to go through school, striving through college, getting married, uh, going into your profession, you know, the one thing by any means necessary is a twofold statement for me. Number one, don't quit. Number two, enjoy the journey. Okay. And thirdly, check your doors. When you think about checking your doors, you think about, okay, what is purpose? Well, I want to get there by any means necessary, but are you checking your doors to see if it's open? You know, I think about this movie many years ago. It was a movie called The Adjustment Bureau, and you had to wear a hat in order to go through a door. So in order to go through the door of purpose, you had to wear your hat, and then you check your door to see what door and where it took you. And so for me, by any means necessary is one thing. Just constantly check and see what doors are open. And if that door is locked, it's not time for me to go through that door. But check another door to see if it's open. And that is my position of, and by any means necessary.
Well, the young people that told me that didn't mean that way. They they are in this content and they're not going to school to their education. They have determined that whatever they need to do or say and hurt and make folks laugh, it didn't matter what, as long as they got theirs. And so, how can we turn around that way of thinking by any means necessary does not mean the same today as it did for us. And it's gotten a lot of people in jail, and it's gotten a lot of people in the graveyard. Would you like
It
to
to me.
speak?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. Well, let me make a comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're
No,
next.
go ahead, Mr. Washington.
Okay. The thing is for me,
Oh, okay.
coming out
What
of
I want to add a little bit more to that. Enemy is necessary means to me the interpretation. Whatever book I need to read, whatever course I need to take, whatever tutoring that I need, it's not reckless. Whatever it takes that allows is lawful and logical that I can do it. So sometimes when some of the young people and some of the old people think when enemy is necessary, they're doing the things that are hurting them and they end up in jail or they end up in the graveyard. But enemy necessary means that you're going to be responsible for your education. Sometimes I mean it's a loving way that if you put a tie on and shine your shoes and pull up your pants, then the world look at you as a prospect. But if you walk down, you're not properly dressed, then they look at you as a suspect. How do you want to be labeled? So when you talk about all the bad things that you're willing to do that to get what I want, well, if you're that serious, then be so serious that if I got to work at McDonald's to get started, I'll do that. If I got to be a janitor and clean. Matter of fact, when I graduated from school in South Carolina, before I went up to Rochester, New York, I was a janitor at the officer club in the military base. I used to clean the bathroom and all those kinds of things like that. But watch this. That was 40 years ago when I left and went to Rochester. When our 40th year anniversary of school, I was invited back to the same officer club on the same military base, but at this time at a corporate man trained people from around the world, a best-selling author. So it doesn't matter where you start. It does matter that you start. So sometimes people don't want to hear all of that. They want to look at all the glitter. But let me something. Another thing that I talk about, we talk about purpose, but let me say a few words about worth. If you
Well,
know that you
I'm
are,
sorry,
you will do.
Dr. Gadson. I'm so sorry. We got 5 minutes for you all to
Yes.
tell how to get in touch with you so that we can be under an hour. So, how do we get in touch with you? How do the viewers?
Yes, how do you get in touch with me? You go to www.jonasbonus.com. www.jonasbonus.com. You get a free gift. If you want to email me, that's jonaswiththebonus@outlook.com. jonaswiththebonus@outlook.com. Those who are not social savvy, you can call me 585-703-9547. That's 585-703-9547. And my motto is, since greatness is possible, excellence is not enough. Go for greatness.
All right. Anthony, how can they get in
yes.
touch with you?
Okay, they can get in contact with me at awtrusthim23 at gmail.com. That's awtrusthim23 at gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, or Instagram. You can find me at Coach Duub, and that's Coach_DUUB on Instagram, and Anthony Washington on Facebook.
All right. I just don't want us to
Oh,
miss our time. Huh? Go ahead.
803 Oh, I forgot my number. 803-463-9530.
All right. Well, you all heard a little bit of what you're going to hear when you come to the GT Summit, September the 5th, 6th, and 7th. All right. And I'll be back tomorrow with some more of our great speakers. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach Duub. Thank you, Dr. Gadson. All right, let me get us out of here. Let me, yeah, so we don't want to lose none of this. Hold on.